Okay, hi, good afternoon, everyone. I see okay, it's filling up now. We're going to start at 2 o'clock, so there's still 2 minutes to go. Just waiting for the room to fill up a bit. It will start at 2 o'clock. Okay, it's 2 o'clock and the room's filling up nicely. I'm going to do some intros just to start off. So first of all, let me introduce Bernard Forward. He's the regional manager for Africa. He'll be saying a few words just to introduce Acumatica. Then we have Christopher Dezieu, he's the managing director of Capisol. He'll be doing some presenting, and then I'd like to introduce Dave Miller. He's recently joined Capisol as their Senior Business Development Manager. Let me hand over to Bernard just to say a few words. So then we'll hand over to Chris. Thanks.
Thanks, Sharon, and welcome everyone to our webinar today. I look after Acumatica in our region, and one of the important things to us always is working with our specialized software partners, as I call them, or ISVs. They are partners, so we work with partners like Capisol to provide extended solutions around Acumatica. And I think today is really an important topic in terms of improving efficiency and also accelerating and improving cash flow through technology. So it's all around digitization of documents and document management and collection, speeding up, logistics of documents getting to the right people, either on glass or in digital form, and then proof of deliveries, confirmations. But that's my take on it, and Chris will do a far better job of explaining it to you. So I'll hand over to Chris and enjoy the webinar.
Brilliant. Thanks, Bernard. Thanks, Sharon, very much for organizing, and welcome everybody. As Sharon said, I'm Chris Dezieu, MD of Capisol, and in the room with me is Dave Miller, who's just joined as our recent Business Development Manager. So going forward, I'm presenting today, but Dave will be your main point of contact, and hopefully we will look forward to chatting more after this webinar, and reach out to us directly. You'll see on the website or through Sharon and Bernard. So yeah, thanks for the intro. I think really today is a little bit around where is finance in terms of AR collections, and what can AI do to help us actually make our businesses run a bit more effective. So I've got a bit of a presentation. I'm just going to show you, run through a little bit around the history about where's the industry today, what's Capisol, and then we're going to look around the future and what does it hold for us. And through the session, if you've got questions, there should be a Q&A box at the top of your Teams. You can pop a question in there, and then what we'll do at the end, we'll circle back and just go through all the questions. So I won't stop through the presentation, but we've got time at the end of the presentation just to loop back and answer any questions that you might have at that stage. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen. And do you see something on your side as it's sharing?
Not sharing yet.
Not on the main. Yeah.
No, it is. Got it.
Okay, perfect. What I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to take myself off so that it goes full screen. There we go. Okay, brilliant. So Capisol is a cloud-based document management solution. And really what we're going to look at today is what's the next generation of accounts receivable intelligence and where we're going with this whole AI there's lots being said about it, and really we're here to help you navigate through this journey. Capisol's a business that's been around for 13 years. We started in the cloud 13 years ago as a cloud native document management solution. And our promise right from day one was that we were always going to be always efficient and consistently reliable. And I think it's a very key point when we go into a little bit later around where's the finance going, what's happening with this world of AI. It's a key component that Capisol is always going to live by and promise to you, that we are always going to be efficient and we're going to be consistently reliable, which is a key thing in today's environment where technology is changing literally every week. So it's a bit daunting for people that aren't in the space to look at it and say, well, jeepers, how do we do this? What are we doing? Capisol's here to help you navigate that process. So we started 13 years ago around document automation, and we're going to show you a little bit around the stability of the product that we've got now. It's a very mature, stable product, and it really was all around getting your documents into the cloud, very secure engines to make sure that they're delivered, and making sure you have that efficiency going back into your business. Where we're going forward, though, is we're looking at this AR intelligence. So it's a completely different process, and it's really around taking the established base that we've got of 13 years and making it now available to you on an AR intelligent platform level. So it's not just around what we've done the last 13 years. It's more around where we're going with this, and that's what Capisol's really excited to be able to be involved in. So let's have a quick look at finance. Where is it? I come from a financial background. I'm a CA. And really 20 years ago, we were all getting excited about scanning documents. We were like, let's scan them into the system. Let's archive them somewhere. And it was trying to go a little bit digitizing documents. We then said 10 years ago, what about if we start automating things? At that stage as well, there was a bit of cloud migration. So cloud started getting adopted. We were trying to look at how we get off-premise. To where we are today, it's more around automating decisions. And we're still very much stuck in that phase of, well, what the workflows, how do you make them a little bit cleverer? But really, the focus is, where do we go tomorrow? And tomorrow is more around intelligent finance platforms. And what I mean by that is it's not just around having the documents that you've got or the processes and the flows. It's really looking at platforms that are going to empower you to make sure you can run a better business. And that's where we see ourselves playing, is to be able to help you look into that space and make sure that you are looking at platforms like an Acumatica, which is going to be able to grow with you and migrate and continually evolve in this ever-changing environment. What is key, I think, today is where are most companies? And if you look at this, it's an interesting slide because it encapsulates what the process involves around. You've got your accounting system. You're normally going to print a document because that document, particularly in South Africa, still needs to be signed. So you still need to have the document available for somebody to be able to sign and, sorry, excuse me, just getting a call coming in here, to be able to validate that they've received your goods or services. From that point, that document comes back into your business, and normally it's going to be archived. It might just be manually archived still. And then your system might email it out to a customer. It's at that point that pretty much the business transaction is concluded. However, you still don't have the cash in the bank. So what happens is that time passes. There's normally a period of time where nothing gets done, and then the credit controllers will start following up. So normally what they'll do is they'll pick up the phone, they'll phone a customer and see if there may be a payment's going to take place. But now bear in mind, a credit controller could have 100, sometimes 150 customers. So there's a lot of work that they need to go through, a lot of thought process they need to think about. Who to follow up, why do they follow up? And if there is a query, how do they resolve the query? Most of the time, there's a lot of document requests for resending of documents. So the documents have to be resent back to the customer. And ultimately, the end of the chain ends with you being paid. But coming back to that first part, the real work is done where you've delivered your service and your goods, and you've now validated that you've given a product through to a client. The rest is very much reactive, and often it's out of your control because you're relying on the clerk who's going to be phoning, chasing, and trying to make sure that they're going to get the money. And from an archiving and an emailing point of view, you might have a basic archiving where you can archive it into a system that then someone has to go look for it. It might be manually done. On an emailing side, A lot of clients are just relying on basic emailing that sends it out. There's no control, there's no tracking. And ultimately, if you look on the right of the diagram, it results in more queries, more resending of documents, and a lot of wasted time in that process. So how would you want to improve your cash flow? Well, the difference really would be starting to look at who's not going to pay you, possibly why they won't pay you. And you also need to get that intervention of where do we need to go? Where do we intervene? And which customers deserve attention today? Because I think that's the key thing. You don't want to wait until the end of the month when you're expecting to get the cash in, only to then find that the customer hasn't paid you and now there's a query which has to be raised. Ultimately, you sitting at the back without the cash in your bank, you can't grow your business. And that's the main driver here. Is if you haven't got cash, you can't grow your business. And cash flow, as you all know, is critical to be able to grow your business. And I think this is where we start changing the mindset around, it's not just around having the documents available to your staff and available to your customer. It's around having that intelligence to be able to start looking at possibly what else can we look at this data? What else can we do with it? And how do we handle that? And I think this is where we're seeing ourselves in this very ever-changing environment, because you are getting other AI systems and guys are looking at it, trying to find ways to do this, but there's a lot going on. As I said, if you look in the last 6 weeks, how much has changed just with regards to the AI models and the chase and the speed of which acceleration this is changing, it is daunting. It's daunting for us in the industry. For people outside the industry, it's even more difficult. So that being said, what is Capisol today? The Capisol is a cloud-based platform that currently has a range of services that we can provide to you. We complement directly into Acumatica, so we connect in the background and we automatically extract the documents and the data into our cloud, which allows us to perform the first basics of what we discussed earlier with regards to automatically archiving your documents and emailing it out. And the easiest way for me to show you that is I'm going to show you directly in the portal just exactly what it looks and feels, just sort of highlight some of the differences as to what this Capisol platform does today, and then we're going to talk around possibly where it's going to be going. Around the wagon wheel there in the cloud, you'll see there are a multitude of services. And it's the key thing here is that we are able to digitize your full AR function, and we focus on the accounts receivable because that's the most important place from a cash flow collection point of view and cash flow management, is to make sure that you're collecting your cash at the front door that once you've actually sold the product. So again, I'm not going to run through all the products here. I'm going to jump straight into the portal and just quickly show you what it looks like. So logging in, you can log into the system. It is driven by a user password, your email address and user password. We do have a single sign-on, multi-factor authentication available as well. And once you log in, you're going to get some dashboarding, which just quickly shows you some information. Again, given the limited time we've got here, I'm not going to run through all of this that's in here. What I want to show you is quickly the base of what is the power of Capisol as it stands right now. So what I want to do is, I'm now a clerk and I'm saying I need to now follow up with a customer because I haven't received any feedback from them. So I'm able to quickly go in here and I can search for the customer, and it'll immediately pull up my full customer master, and I can say that's the customer, and I want to quickly look for, actually let's look for the last statement. So when was the last statement that they received? So it'll quickly show me the 2 statements that were last generated for this customer, and the last one was the 30th of June, and it does show me that it was emailed out to the customer. Now this is where we start differentiating versus just a basic emailing protocol, is we can tell you, yes, it was emailed out, but we'll go one step further. You'll see that we've actually got a little blue icon there, and if I double click on it, what it'll tell me is it'll actually tell me exactly when this document was opened. So you can see that this was opened by my user on the 30th of June, and most recently it was opened on the 14th of July. So I've interacted with this document 6 times since this document was emailed out. But what I'm able to do is I can quickly go in here and I'm going to email it just to myself to show you what it does. So click send, and it's now going to automatically go out to the client, and you'll see it's going to come into my mailbox, and I'll show you how quick and easy it is. But what I want to show you is if I just go here to quickly to the sent items, you'll see that it's been sent out originally by the system. Now it's showing that it's been sent by me, and it's actually been sent out through to that recipient. So if I then quickly jump across to my email box, it should now refresh in here, and it'll come in any minute onto the my email demo. Come on. Close that in the meantime. Okay, so there you can see it's now come into my mailbox. So now I'm masquerading as a user which has now received the email, and I could be, if I go back to the clerk, I could go in here now and I could go again, look at the sent items, and you'll see what it tells me is that it was delivered and I've actually now opened it. So it's showing you that I've interacted with the document. From a client perspective though, I've now got the document, and I can then double click and I can open up, and it's going to open up on my local machine, and waiting for Adobe to open. It'll open up on my local machine, and sorry, I'm working across multiple screens here. And it'll then allow me to look at the document, and I can view and say, actually, hang on, I don't recall that invoice number. So what I can do now is I can literally go and I can click on that document number, and what it will then do is it drills me through to the Capisol service, and it does a quick verification check to make sure that the link on the document is not being accessed by a bot, which is a key thing, because you don't want anybody just to be able to scrape that PDF and bulk download all your documents. If it fails, it will then go through a manual validation. So in this case, I'm just going to click View Document, and it will then download it. Again, that download is based on your settings in your browser, and there's the invoice. So now I have the invoice on my local machine, but you'll see we've got some other links on here as well. Now it's again differentiation. We are able to link to something like a terms and conditions. So if you want to send out, for argument, any document, and yet you want to link to a contract or a term and condition, I can click on here. It'll go through the same process, and it'll then allow me to view the terms and conditions that were then linked to that document. In this case, this is just a test terms and conditions for that document. But now I'm the customer, and I say, but hang on, I don't have this based in my accounting system. Where's the POD for this? Don't have to worry. I can go there and I can simply click on it. Same process again. It'll then just allow me to download the POD, and it'll automatically. So in this case, this is an ePOD example. It's not just a base document. So this is the supporting document. It's coming as a tax invoice, but it's actually the supporting document behind this. So bear in mind, I'm the customer, and all that I've done is from my email, I've opened up my statement, and I'm able to quickly drill down and view any documents without having to ask for a repeat document or a POD. Everything is visible, and I can clearly see that I've got everything. But we also realize sometimes the clients are lazy. So you'll see we've got a thing called a related document link. I can go and I can click on that. And then what that'll do is that'll then allow me again, once it's gone through the Cloudflare validation, it then opens up a one-time window where it does a quick validation, and here it's got all of the documents. So you'll see it's got the invoices as well as any delivery notes that are available. And we also convert the PDF statement to an Excel version. So from here, I can quickly go there and bulk download everything in a zip file onto my machine, and I've got all invoices, all PODs that I can then make sure I can make payment. So from a client perspective, it's very, very easy for them to be able to interact with it. But let's say there's still a problem, and the client says, hang on, there's an issue here. Let's just pick it up on this one. Let's say invoice 222. So I can click send without having to change anything. There's no reply. It's an automatically replyable event, and it'll then now go back. Now, what is nice is you'll see how quickly that response. So I'll just go back to this portal. just close these old windows down. So if I click search here again, it will show me all interaction. Again, just to highlight, if I go to the sent items, you'll see that now it's got the open status. And if I click on it, it's going to show me the full email history here, how many times. So I've interacted with every time. You can see it's a few seconds apart that it's actually been opened. But what is nice is if I now just close here, you'll see that's now got the response. So now what it's actually showing me is it's showing me that somebody has responded to their thing. So let's go view the response. And there it is. Please raise a credit note. So you see how quick it is. It's come back, but it's centrally visible. So anybody can see this in the portal here. And from this point, they can then go and raise a credit note or interact with it as needs be. We also have, I'll just take this off here. Let's do this here. We also have if there's a failure. So I can quickly see in this case, what I've done is I've searched for all failed emails. And if I click on it, what it will then tell me is it'll tell me that this was sent to my email address and it failed for whatever reason. I can actually go and it is a technical response. Okay, this was gone through on a suppression list, but this didn't get delivered. So now you know if the client's for whatever reason not interacting with you, you are able to then be able to see this exactly in the portal and clearly be able to see what the client has or hasn't done. So if I just take this off here and show you on the OE invoices. So you can see that's what it looked like if it's been read, if it's been responded, and there is if it's been failed. So very, very quick basic touchdown of what the portal does and what it feels like from a customer's perspective. And you'll see just now why that first step is very, very important around where we say finance is going from a, future point of view. So jumping back to the presentation, what I showed you there just quickly from a finance, from a Capisol perspective is obviously the document storage, we're storing all the documents. The linking is the emailing as well as that response service of automatically tracking and making sure that you can see exactly what's happened, who's interacted with the document. And then we didn't show the scanning, but that's where the scan would then bring the documents into the system. So the future of finance, where are we going? Where are we going with this? Automation has been around for a long time. So we've seen of that. We've got automation with regards to automatic rules. There's various things you can do from a distribution point of view, from a document control point of view. But now you're bringing into AI. And the difference is that AI starts recognizing patterns. So it's a big, big difference. It's a major thing from, well, you've got to build a static process to now making sure you've got AI coming into the process. And I think one of the key differentiations around from Capisol and where we see AI playing is this difference between horizontal AI versus vertical AI. And the difference there is that horizontal AI is probably what a lot of you have been playing with at the moment. So it's around Copilot, ChatGPT, maybe you've got a Claude license, who knows, a Grok. What you're doing with it, though, is that you're using it probably 5% of its capability. So it's writing emails, it might be summarizing meetings for you, maybe generating some documents, helping with a presentation. Possibly, it's even just doing advanced search engine. The difference here is it's a very generic model that is powerful, but it's so powerful we're using a very small percentage of its actual capability. Vertical AI is a different look and feel because there what we're doing is we're looking at a very specific process. So in this case, we're looking at AR intelligence. We're looking at what is it that we have as a database, what do we have from a document point of view that we can superimpose from an AI to train this AI to be effectively super duper credit controller. So what we do is we'll train the AI app and we prompt it to be very focused with regards to predicting late payments, prioritizing collections, possibly detecting debtors risk. And ultimately, you want to drive the business outcome, which in Capisol's motive is we want to ensure that you are getting improved cash collections. So we'll say typically Copilot will help people. It's going to help you possibly in your processes, where vertical AI is going to come around more around helping specifically your business in terms of your business process, as well as the staff within the business. So the difference here is that you're going to have that real focused side of it. It might not be a big Claude model or a ChatGPT model. It's probably going to be a smaller model, but it's going to be a very intelligent model for what it needs to do. And Capisol is looking at doing it. We've been playing with AI for over 12 months already. We've been building out, we've been experimenting, we're deep into this to make sure that we can take our base and how do we bring that in. We believe that this vertical AI is going to be very critical from a finance perspective. It's a challenge that a lot of businesses have. How do we bring AI and how do we make it more, our business more productive? Capisol is going to do that for you on the AR side. You can still have your other AI with the other processes, but from a Capisol perspective, it's AR focused. So what is our journey and where have we been? We've spoken in 2013, we did document automation, we did secure document delivery. We've just recently upgraded our delivery process to what I've shown you now, where we can track it to make sure, did the client read it, did it open, did it bounce? All of that's clearly reportable in the system. That is available live currently as it is today. I then showed you the customer service. So that's the whole thing of self-serving off the PDF securely to be able to download any documents that they might need. They're also able to automatically raise a query back onto the document that was emailed through to them. That's visible in the portal. There's the bulk download process. So we've been able to really focus on getting the documents and effectively eliminate the client's excuse for them not to be able to pay you. But what about what next? And that's where we then started looking at it. And coming back to that first slide that I mentioned around, where are most businesses today? So you've done your delivery, you've got your proof of delivery, what now? And we thought that was a logical place to start. So we then went and we've now done an AI scanning module. And what the AI scan does is it removes the barcode dependency. But more importantly for us is that we've now learned the process with the AI to look at what do we do down the rest of the chain. So our future is looking at gaining the document understanding, which will then allow us to build in this accounts receivable intelligence. And by that, I'm talking around document relationships. What does it mean? Not just, oh, you've archived a document. Has it been signed? Or what about if there's a query raised in the document? And out of that, you then start getting into the predictive collections module and ultimately into autonomous AR. But I can promise you autonomous AR is a way off because there's, again, being a CA, you don't want to just let an AI loose into your finance department. We all know it hallucinates. It doesn't get things right all the time. So Capisol's consistent promise is you're going to be consistently reliable and continually efficient. And the point there is that we're not going to jump straight into autonomous AR. We're going to go through this process and we're really well down the road here. And the idea is our next step is around building out this intelligence platform, which is going to allow us to do this predictive collections. So what does the AI scan do today for us? So I mentioned that we looked traditionally at how was scanning done. The key thing here was that scanning always relied on a barcode. And the reason for that is if you scan a document through to a system, it's what's termed a flat PDF. So it's really much like a laminate document that you can't write on, you can't do anything on it. OCR has been around for a while, but it was always inefficient and it was not really cost effective to implement. It took a long time to train it. What we found is even with the barcodes, you still had to do templates. And when things went wrong, you always had to go to the manual indexing. So we process thousands and thousands of scans at the moment through our system every day. And from those learnings, we then said, hang on, there's got to be a better way to do this. So we brought in the AI concept. And what the AI does, it actually reads the document. It doesn't try and extract anything. It actually physically reads it. And it then takes it and it looks and it understands this is an invoice, proof of delivery, purchase order, might be even an ID document. Doesn't matter. It looks for the supporting documents and it looks for the relationships. So now what we've learned is we've learned how to be able to read those documents and then what can we do with it? And how do we bring that into the system? So we take away the dependency of a barcode, take away the dependency of having to manually index documents. This allows us to then have that intelligent model that can bring in any documentation. Where at the moment, if you're going to scan in a document, it has to be a document that you've generated, you've put your barcode on it, and that you've then scanned it in, and we've got the data to then be able to index it. So it fundamentally changes the way that everybody's been archiving documents because you've allowed it to come in quickly and be brought in without having to have this manual indexing process. We're very excited about this launching, and it's going to fundamentally change, and our existing clients are going to make a massive difference in their lives already. So we've got that, and as I mentioned, what next? Well, for us, the future opportunities where AI should be playing is answering questions and helping you. Why is this customer suddenly slowed payment? Why are invoices more likely to become, which invoices are more likely to become overdue? Which customers should receive reminders? And then which activity will recover the most cash today? And I think that comes back to my first comment. If you're a credit controller, you're sitting with 100, maybe 150 accounts, and how do they prioritize? How do they look to see what should they or shouldn't they be doing? The purpose of AI is to be able to start answering those questions, to be able to start seeing how they can be productive, how can they be forewarned of risk which is coming into the business, and rather than wait to be reactive about this, to be able to make sure that you can be preemptive on all the processes. We've recently done that new emailing, and I just want to highlight again the power of the platform of something like Capisol. And what we do on that emailing is if an email bounces once to a client, it gets added to what's called a suppression list. And what that means is that we are we're controlling the IP address that the emails are all going out on. So we're trying to maintain a good reputation because we don't want to have bounced emails, because the spam models will pick up, no, hang on, if it's bouncing, it's unlikely that that email address is being managed. Therefore, it's likely that it's going to be spam, so our IP gets blacklisted. What was very interesting for us is across our 600 sites, the number of common email addresses that were wrong. So why that's interesting is now you start seeing that we have got a serious database of information that we are able to disseminate, but you could take learnings from one database to potentially learn from another database to be able to help across the shared platforms. The reality is everything's changing so quickly. These are possible opportunities. We're excited to be exploring them, and we are on a journey to be able to look and see what we can do with this AI. So imagine your AR team now comes into the business every day, and immediately they're going to have client A, phone today, client B, no action required, client C, suggest you resend them the statement. That's giving them some proper intelligence that they can react on. But what's important is you've got the foundation of the Capisol system, which is allowing you to build on this. You can't go and start putting this intelligence onto data which is fragmented, which is across different systems, because it becomes very, very difficult to be able to control and to be able to start looking at that actual information and to be able to start generating intelligence to this level. So why this matters is that the average finance team doesn't need more dashboards. Dashboards summarizing, again, what's gone. What we're saying is we're trying to look for how do we empower you to make better decisions, less admin, early warnings, and ultimately reduce your risk and provide better cash flow. AR intelligence is what's going to drive that. And it's important that you have the base foundation to be able to have that intelligence, to be able to create and give the AI that information that they can actually drive this with you. Most of today's systems report the past. Capisol is going to point to what's next. So typically a system right now will tell you what's happened. The record of the past, it's useful, but it's generally one step behind. Capisol is going to tell you what's likely to happen. What risks are there? What outcomes are predicted? And then, most importantly, what should you do next? So that clear prioritized guidance is around helping you to make more informed decisions, to be able to react quicker, to be able to see the information. And that's only possible if you've got the basics of information that's in the platform that you can then react on and AI can then work off. So our vision, which I'm driving through the company, is that we are going to become the leading intelligent accounts receivable platform that will help organizations improve their cash flow, reduce your debtors risk, and make better collection decisions through AI-powered insights and automation. I strongly believe this is the way things are going to go, And I believe that we've got a great foundation to be able to empower you to be able to run this. Without that base of the Capisol cloud, all that information, all the documents, you're not going to be able to really get AI to be able to generate that for you. So what does it mean to you? Where are you today and where should you be going? AR intelligence is here. It's coming. I believe we all need to be looking at it. So the important thing is, what's the journey? What should you be looking at? First and foremost, have the right ERP system. Acumatica is designed for this. It's in the cloud. It's there. It's got all the processes. Capisol helps you with the first step around the AR intelligence though. So once you've got a sound ERP system, if you haven't got it, that's your first step. Secondly, look to digitize your documents and automate your processes. Capisol can do that for you on the AR processes already. If you've got that base and you can connect your data into a centralized warehouse, that's when we can introduce AI. So Capisol will do that step for you, provided we've got 1, 2, 3 done correctly. Then we can look at bringing in the AI to give you improved decisions, which ultimately builds you towards intelligent, proactive collections. And that's where you should be looking and focusing, because that is where you're going to drive a better business. You're going to be able to have that strong cash flow to keep growing and make sure that you are here to keep building your business as you should be. And let us manage all the complexities of this technical world. So I know I'm a little bit ahead of time, but I'm just going to move my screens around and see, is there anybody got any questions? I see some have come up here. I'm just opening the Q&A screen. Michelle, thanks for your comment. So just, yeah, everyone can't see the question. So what you're asking here is that clients have a question, have an issue of not being able to log into portals as part of their environment. So, and it was an issue with a previous software that you might have used. So I showed you earlier that when we are we're emailing out the invoice or the statement, and let me just quickly jump to that to show you. So I showed you the statement that's been emailed out, but the same process, this is an invoice that's been emailed out. And what we've actually built into our new emailing engine is very sophisticated processes to manage the bots. So particularly in your case where the big customers, the big mining houses, very much pertinent to the retailers as well, where they'll say that if you want to get paid, you need to send me your invoice and the subject line must say this, the attachment name must be this, and some of them even go so far as to say that your HTML must show this. So what Capisol can do is that we can schedule that for you, so we can break that down by customer group, however you want it, and it can customize each message to go out so that it meets the client requirement for their bot processing. So what we're trying to do there is we're trying to make sure that the person who's managing that doesn't have to go and manually download all the invoices and then send it out. So this is a prime example. I'm talking around getting your base structure right. Make sure that you've got your digitization right and you've got your automated processes in place. Because if you've got that, then you can bring in the whole AI side of it around what next. But if you haven't got this and someone is still having to manually download documents and try and send it through to a portal, then it's very difficult to put AI intelligence onto that because you haven't got that data. With Capisol, you know, on the screen, like if you go back and again, I can show you this one invoice. It'll tell me that I've just interacted with it again. From a bot perspective, it would have known that it's been successfully delivered through to the bot. So yeah, we don't, even though I showed you the portal, the clients don't need to access the portal. We are able to email out those PDFs through to the client in whatever format they need. We can also do supporting documents, so Excel, and bring in the extra information. There's a lot more that we do on the platform. And again, so I think the point is, if you have any of these specific questions, if you're not comfortable putting them in the Q&A now, please reach out to Bernard or Sharon or directly to Dave and myself, and we can help you look through exactly what your specific requirements are as to what we can possibly help you with. I just want to jump back to the presentation, just quickly run through typically some of the frequently asked questions, which that maybe might answer some of the things that you guys are thinking about. Bring this back up big again. Many ERP vendors already offer AI. Why does AR need its own AI? And I think just important point here again is that we're offering that vertical AI. So it's AR specific. It's designed to improve your cash flow. So it's not a generic AI, which is going to answer you what was the rugby score. It's going to be very tailored and specific to making sure that it's around driving the cash flow improvement. Will AI replace the credit controllers? No, I can honestly tell you that. I think all we're trying to do is we are trying to make them more effective in their jobs. So it's going to remove the repetitive work and allow them to make better decisions, but also building the customer relations. You know, I think we're all human and we all interact better with humans. So yes, you can have an AI generated response, but if it's still customized by somebody, you're going to get better results. So our aim is not to replace credit controllers, it's to make them more effective. How does AI scan differ from traditional document capture? I think that the key thing here is, again, the barcodes. So traditional document capture relies on that barcode. In high volume environments, you need the barcode traditionally. AI scan eliminates that requirement. Why that's relevant is because the barcode still needs to be printed at the time the document is generated. So if it's not, for simple thing, the font might not be installed on the computer at the time, and then the barcode doesn't print. AI scan eliminates that. So it eliminates one of the major bottlenecks of any manual document capture and allows you to scan any documents in and automatically associate it. Where should organizations begin their AI journey? And I think this is a very, very important point. The most important thing is your strong cash flow. So why wouldn't you want to start with anything other than something which is going to help your cash flow? So start where there's measurable business value. And accounts receivable is the most excellent place to start, because if you improve your collections, you've then got cash and focus to drive it through the rest of your business. So Capisol is here to drive visible, quantifiable, and direct improvement in your working capital. That is our goal. We want to try and do that continuously and not just do it as a once-off thing. And then lastly, what should finance teams do today to prepare for AI? The reality is AI is here. It's not going away. We need to learn to work with it. I think the key thing is you need to make sure that your data is accurate. You need to start digitizing your manual processes and build that strong automation foundation. You can't look at any sort of AI if you're running on a very old manual ERP system. You need something like Acumatica. You need that strong base to start with. If you've got this, then you can start talking around the AI. Even with Acumatica, you need Capisol to really help you from this cash flow generation point of view to digitize the documents, make sure that you've got the recording on all the email distribution, potentially some of the other information packs and services we provide. And once you've got that clean data, then with clean, well-managed data, you're much better positioned to be able to take advantage of the AI. But it all starts with having that base. If you don't have that base, AI is not going to be able to help you. So thanks, everyone. Please reach out to us at capisolsoftware.com. Otherwise,
Christopher, there's another question there. I don't know if you saw it. Sorry, it was just from 2 minutes ago. You might have been chatting.
Yep,
what if the customer has a portal that requires documents?
Rian, thanks very much for that question. So Capisol is designed in such a way that we've got our own AI API background as well, so we can push and pull documents. So what will happen there is it depends on the customer. We've already got integrations with a lot of different FMCG clients, and we can actually direct upload those documents for you, provided the customer themselves has those APIs that we can use. So Capisol can manage that for you and automate that process. We, however, need the customer to be able to have that. And most of them do. Most of them do have that ability that we can push documents automatically for you. And we've done various things with clients in the past. Another prime example we did is where Capisol self-reconciled to make sure that we had all the invoices. We then generated that pack and we pushed it into the client portal, and being able to then have the client to have a record of everything that was then reconciled. But we didn't do that until we knew we had everything on the statement with the PODs, and then we pushed it into their portal. That's intelligent automation. Okay, it's not just, oh, well, here's a document, push, push, push. It's trying to make sure that you can build those guardrails and the safety to make sure that you're pushing information correctly and that it's going to be there at the right time, at the right place. So yeah, thank you very much for those questions.
Oh, thanks, Christopher. Okay, you guys done? So yeah, if anyone wants the recording, I'll send it out anyway. We'll all get you all a recording, everyone that has registered and attended. Yeah, and if you've got any more questions, you know where to find Christopher and Dave Miller.
Dave, do you want any parting comments since you're going to be chatting to everybody?
Everyone is more than welcome to get in touch. Sharon's got my contact details. So thanks everyone for attending. Look forward to chatting to you further.
Cool. Cheers, guys. Have a good day.
Brilliant, Sharon. Thanks so much for organizing. Appreciate it. Cheers, everybody.
Thanks a lot. Okay, bye.
Cheers. Bye.